Welcome to Steps to the Stage, a 7th Street Community Theater podcast. Welcome to Steps to the Stage, the podcast where we talk to the community theater professionals you know and love. My name is Kirk, and I will be your host for today. And we are so excited to talk about Urinetown the Musical. And we have the directors and creative team here. So we have Luke Hooganraad, we have Marcy Pinedo, we have Joey Rice, who is part of the creative team, and we have Maddie McGowan, who is part of the creative team. So welcome back.
It's great to be back.
I love it. I love it. Well, you guys, you've got a bit of a production coming up here in a little bit, and we want to talk a little bit about it today. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? Tell me what you do for this particular production, and then we can go in and talk a little bit about it so that our listeners can understand what Urinetown the Musical is about. So we'll start with Luke, one of our directors.
Yeah, I'm Luke Hooganraad. I am a co-director for this. It is my directorial debut, and I'm an alumni here, and I love being here.
Yes, nice.
Hello, my name is Marcy Pinedo. I am the other co-director of Urinetown. It is my directorial debut as well.
I love that. Both of you, your directorial debuts together. That's fantastic.
Hello, I'm Joey Rice. I am the musical director of Urinetown. I think this is my third time being a musical director, but this is my first full musical director. The other times I was a student or assistant musical director.
Okay, so first time for you being in charge, as it were.
Yeah.
So, but a pro as it relates to the others that you've been in. And you've also been in quite a few different productions here over the years, so and very involved in the theater.
Hi, my name is Maddie McGowan. I'm the choreographer for this show. This is, I believe, my 7th show I've choreographed and my 3rd at Chino.
3rd at Chino. And just while we're talking, where have the others been at?
Just the other ones have been at Luke and I's old high school, Crossroads Christian High School.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wonderful. Of course, I like to talk about the local high schools, and we have our own drama department podcast that we use, that we highlight a lot of the local Inland Empire theater programs. And that's actually been doing real well. We've done about 3 or 4 different episodes now, and they've been really picking up. So, Luke, why don't you start off and just give us a little bit of a rundown of Urinetown, and we'll go around the horn here and get some insights from this group.
Yeah, so Urinetown is a great show. It's a like political comedy satire. It's like a dark comedy essentially.
Was it a book or was it a play originally, or what's
completely original? I think.
Completely original
Yeah.
as a musical.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the book was written, or is there a book, or am I just reaching for stars? It was a play written, and okay.
As far as I'm aware, I don't think there's a book.
Just the musical, I'm pretty sure.
And then about when was it written? Do you
This was
guys know?
2001 that it was
Okay,
on
so
Broadway.
it's okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Okay, so political, you said.
Yeah, it's a satire just
Yeah.
about like capitalism and like the bad things that can happen in capitalism, and also just like what the people should have a say over and things like that.
Okay, Marcy.
I also feel like it, in a weird way, kind of satirizes like revolution itself in a way, and how sometimes they can be mismanaged or focus on, I guess, the not important stuff in some ways. Do you know what I'm getting at, Luke? How sometimes you can focus too hard on like, this is going to sound weird, but like the emotions or on like slogans and things without getting to the actual heart of the matter.
Right, you like the slogan because of the way it sounds,
Yes,
but you
exactly.
don't quite
But
know.
the actual activism starts to fall by the wayside.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So, you think of activism and you think of politics, and you don't necessarily think of musical.
Yeah.
So, Joey, maybe talk to us a little bit about the music behind Urinetown.
Where to start? It's like kind of based off of your stereotypical musical sound, I guess.
Okay.
Like this one song, "Run Freedom Run," is kind of a stomp clap song. I could see some West Side Story influences, like another song called "Snuff That Girl." They do a lot of snapping.
Okay.
But it's just kind of like a parody of musicals in general.
Okay.
Really.
I like that. And then I think I read that there is someone wrote the music separate from the individual that wrote the play. Do you guys know anything about who wrote what or any history of what they have?
It's actually the first I'm hearing of that. No.
Yeah.
Well, and
more
I'll tell you where I get this. It says music by Mark Holman, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and then book by Greg. And is that Kotis? Kotis? Is that? Am I reading that right?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. So, so any history that you guys are aware of, like maybe other plays or anything, other things that they've written?
Yeah, they did. I know Urinetown was kind of like a really, really big hit for what it was. So they have another show.
We just discovered this.
Yeah, it's another show that they wrote together like in 2007, I think.
Okay. All right.
But I don't know of anything before Urinetown that
Got
they
it.
wrote together.
And then it says the two of them also wrote the lyrics. So Mark wrote the music. The book was written by Greg. And I think that's why I was asking about if it was a book before, just because this little bit of research that I did showed that. So, so you've got this music, you've got this, what can be a satire to an extent you mentioned. Let's talk a little bit about the choreography.
So, because it jumps from genre to genre a lot, I've been having a lot of fun, like experimenting with a bunch
The music
of different-
itself, the
Yes.
genre of the music jumps.
So
Okay.
sometimes we'll have like a gospel number with Run Freedom Run. Snuff That Girl's very like kind of jazzy. So it's been a lot of fun having them do a bunch of different types of dances and getting to work with the cast with that.
Now, tell me a little bit about some of the other productions that you've done and how this relates from the choreography standpoint, and maybe a little bit about your history of why choreography.
So, let me think about my answer.
No problem.
Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, so I'd like to know, you've said you've done about 7 different productions, 3 of them here. Did I get that correct? And so I would like to hear about some of the, like how this compares to some of the other productions. Because I guess one of the things we didn't talk about was cast size. What's our cast size?
About 16?
Yeah.
Yep.
16. Okay. And is it several leads or is it all ensemble or
There's
what's
several leads. There's
Yeah,
several leads.
It's about like 8 of them are leads, and then
Yeah.
8 are like ensemble.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
everybody's part of the choreography,
Yes.
everybody's part of the
Absolutely.
music. So you've got to get these 16 together
Yes.
depending on how that works together in the different genres. So the question that I had was kind of your history of choreography and maybe some of the other productions and how it relates or doesn't relate or maybe different than what you've dealt with before.
So Urinetown is actually probably one of the favorite shows that I've choreographed out of all of them. I really enjoyed working with Urinetown.
And you've done this production before? Or is this the first time?
This is the first time I've
Oh,
done
okay.
Urinetown.
All right.
And I love
But
work-
it's the best.
Yes.
Might be because of the people in front of me, but
No, I'm being completely
Okay,
serious when
all
I
right.
say this. I love the cast. I like working with people in my age range. Normally
Yeah.
I work with high schoolers and younger, so
Okay.
having people like high school to college range has been very nice. This is one of the more dance heavy shows that I've done because sometimes I get junior shows. So the last few shows I've worked on were junior shows at Chino Community Theater.
right.
And then my most dance heavy show has been Tuck Everlasting at Crossroads.
Okay.
So that
And
one,
we had that production here about a year ago.
yes. So that one compared to this one, those were my 2 favorite productions just because I get a lot more freedom and I
Right.
get to work with like longer dance numbers. So I've been having a lot more fun working with Urinetown. Not to say the other ones
Yeah.
haven't been as fun, but it's very nice having
And
that
your
freedom.
dance background, is it primarily theater, or were you also involved
Yes.
in ballet or other types of dance, or is it primarily theater dance?
My dance background comes from I used to do theater at Cat of Corona.
Okay,
So I've taken a lot of dance classes there. Most
Wonderful.
of it is musical theater based.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes from.
Okay, great. And then I know Joey has a pretty extensive background as it relates to music and being involved in the choirs in high school as well as in college. Because I know I've been to a lot of your performances as my daughter was a part of it and been able to travel around and see you perform. But what I would really like to know is now that you've done a few of these as a or as a student and now you're the musical director, like tell me how that relates to what you working with Ayala Choir and with the Mount Sac Choir and how that's helped prepare you for this.
Oh, it couldn't be any more different.
Really? Okay.
Well, because instead of being the one sitting down, I'm the one in front of everyone this time around. The most similar experiences I've had have definitely been here, where I've been an assistant musical director. But the biggest difference really is the size of the cast. Most of the time, I would work with like either 4 people or
small groups of people that
small
were
groups
specific
of people.
to. Okay.
But now I'm working with like 16 people. I have to keep like, oh, these 5 people need to do these parts, these other 5 need to do these parts, and it just scrambles my brain. Because usually I'm the one, I just need to learn tenor today. Like I'm not really thinking about all these 4.
Well, and then the other difference too is, your experiences with people that are in choir, they've gone through some type of audition process, not that your cast hasn't, but they have a pretty significant background in music. And so I imagine you have to guide a few people along that maybe don't have the same schooling or the same experience in that realm.
Yeah, so I always have to keep that in mind too. Usually I don't like to throw just like terms around, and I'm just willing
Smart,
to,
right? Because they're not going to necessarily know what that terminology is.
I think my very first rehearsal, I went over like the very basic music theory. I went over like subdivisions and things like that. And some people just didn't know what that was. And of course, I thought of that, so that's why I went over that. But you're right. It's a bunch of different people with different levels of background in music.
Yeah, but I'm sure also very skilled, and I mean, we're so lucky here at this theater and just in the Inland Empire in general, because we do support the arts so much. You get people that come from maybe working in the choir or another background. So Marcy and Luke, you guys have been here for a long time. I know because I've been here for a long time, and I remember watching you guys grow up in other productions. And so you've acted, you're helping with camps currently. You guys have been involved in theater in general for quite some time, but now you're the director, right? All these people that we've looked up to for all these years that have been our directors, right? Joey's mom, Donna, the Larsons, Jesse, all those people that have been a part of this. So I'd love to know where you guys are at with all this, because it's got to be quite the step.
It is very different.
Okay.
Yeah,
Say
extremely
that.
different.
Yes, it's a lot to get used to. There's definitely moments where I don't know about you, Luke, but I definitely forget that I'm the adult in the room.
Yes.
For a minute there. Yeah.
I can see that.
And it's strange because we had a meeting just with all the season directors, and they were like, get us your schedules by this day. And we were like,
right,
we have to make a schedule.
Like you want us to make the schedules and supply it to you. We're not being told, okay.
Yeah, so it was like crazy. And then it was like, who do you want on crew? And then we had to like really think we're in charge of
think about that.
Like we have to.
Yeah, I mean, because I think when you make that decision, right, okay, I'm going to direct, and you're so focused on the artistic development of it, right? You're so like, okay, this is how this particular production affected me when I saw it for the first time or read it or whatever. And now how am I going to get this group of people that I'm casting to kind of, make this vision come true? But you forget, you got to make sure and secure, the rehearsal space. Exactly. You got to make sure and get the rights. You got to make sure and get the music. You got to make sure and get, and then some of the other areas that we're going to talk about, you got to do the design. You got to do the costumes. You got to do the music. You got to do you got to be involved. Even though you have other people that are helping you, it's your creative direction.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that you don't think about like right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think how lucky we've been to have such great mentors along the way, as well as here now, right? Because that's got to feel good that, in a heartbeat, you can call someone and they can help you out, right? Yeah. I mean, and Maddie, too, you talked about Kat, and we have so many people that have been involved in our theater that are involved over there. And I really see that, doing this podcast and following all the theater programs as well as the school ones. It's just great to see that crossover and to see different people. So, so a big step. So you haven't opened, you're a week or so away. How you feeling?
Tech starts tonight.
Yeah.
Tech starts tonight.
We start tech.
Wow. By your reaction, obviously you guys can't believe you're here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I keep telling
we
Marcy.
keep having moments where like, oh, this is a real show.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
We did set build
Yes.
like this last weekend, and we
Yeah.
were like,
They put the title up
whoa.
on the marquee, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
whoa, it's happening.
It's happening.
It's really happening.
but it's really cool because it's like we had a meeting at a random restaurant like a year ago planning this.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what got you here?
Yeah.
I received a text from Luke
Mhm.
last June or August, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was literally just, hey, I'm thinking about submitting a show, and you seem like a really cool person to work with. What do you think? Heck yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't
Nice.
I?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I reached out. Honestly, props to my sister Sarah Hooganraad because she told me, hey, if you want to co-direct with someone, like Marcy's probably a great person to do it with.
Yes.
And I was like, that's actually a great point.
Yeah, she has a little
Yeah,
experience.
so-
Two of us worked together on Spelling Bee,
Yeah.
like a year or so
That's
prior.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah.
I think Joey was in
Yes.
that
Yeah,
production
yes,
as
he
well.
was.
I love
So, yeah. Oh, that's great. And so did you guys select Urinetown, or was that something the theater offered you?
I
or-
had a pitch for Urinetown a year or two earlier that fell by the way. It didn't get rejected or anything.
Right. Just
Yeah.
wasn't time.
It wasn't time, yeah. And so when Luke texted me, I said, funny you should mention,
Yeah.
I have Urinetown in my back pocket
Yeah.
if you're interested.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, so for our listeners, so that they know, if you've been listening for a while, you know we do our season reveal episodes and whatnot. And so it's actually a full process that most theaters go through this process, even, you know, your Broadways and your regionals and the professional theaters where they go through and they look at the slate of opportunities, who's available as, you know, the creative team, production team, things of that nature. So we go through the same process here at 7th Street Theater for both the adult and the children's theater. And they have a committee that reviews it all. And so, yeah, it just wasn't time. And now it is time. And now here we are. So just fantastic. So let's get into a little bit of the rest because you talked about all of the responsibilities you have, right? You guys did set build. Let's talk about the set design, who's involved in that, and kind of what your
Our
vision
set designer
was there.
is Maya Timbokin.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
And Maya has been doing stuff for quite
Yes.
some time
Many years
here.
now. Like
Yeah.
So talented,
almost-
so
yeah, almost
talented.
5 years, I think. at
And
this
didn't she start just kind of painting?
Yeah.
And everyone realized how talented
during
she
Almost
was,
Maine,
and
she
now
was a
she's
scenic
doing
painter.
full. Now, is this her first full set design?
I
or
don't believe so.
Yeah, I feel like she's done well because
She did Molehill.
Yeah.
Molehill?
And then I
what-
think
that's
she
right.
also
And
did Chitty.
That's
Chitty
right,
Bang.
and Jesse did mention that. Okay, it's just again. Sorry, I'm obviously pushing our theater and how
No, you're all
wonderful they
good.
are. Like this is what we want. We want to develop. We want you to come in camps.
Yep.
We want you to understand the magic, and then you do your end of the week production, and you realize. We need lights, we need sound, we need set, we need costumes, we need to market, we need to get mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and everybody to come. It's like there's so much to it. And then they audition for something else. And now you guys, a lot of you guys have been through a lot of this. I know my kids have because they started essentially with camps or being involved in a camp of sorts. And then here you are and you guys are doing this. And then, you know, also with my kids, I talk about, you know, they're going to school and have degrees. And so this is what they want to do professionally. And there's great opportunities out there. So I think that's fantastic. Let's shift back to the choreography. And do you and Joey have to work the music and the choreography? Do you guys have to get together and kind of figure how do you guys work together, being that the choreography is happening to the music and vice versa? Or is there...
It's been happening more recently because we're discovering that because the thing is we're given tracks by the company. They're called
Right.
MTI.
Right.
And we're discovering, oh wait, this is different from the tracks we've been using. So we have been working together more recently. But earlier on, no, not necessarily. No, we weren't really working together. But it's happening now.
Got it. Yeah, I have to imagine, especially like, you know, because I perform as well as a musician and like just learning a song and playing the guitar and singing. And I have to phrase things differently because of the way I'm playing. I have to imagine there's some of that when you're working on the blocking and you're working on when I get my breath and when I'm going to sing this and when I do that and how you bring all those together. So, going back, I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping all around, but on the choreography side, have you been in a number of productions yourself?
Yes.
Okay, and was that the kind of the starter, the motivator to
Yes.
that?
So, my first show ever was back at CAT in 2015. I was in Mary Poppins. So I've been doing shows
Another show we've had on this stage.
Yes.
Yes.
I've been doing shows there and as well as Crossroads. So I believe I've done like, I don't know. It's probably around 14
Wow.
shows that I've been in.
Okay.
Throughout my time. And after I graduated high school, I thought I was done with theater forever. I was like, I'm never doing theater again. Like, I'm done being in shows. I don't have anything else to do because
Right.
I'm not going into college for theater. And then this avenue kind of opened up where I get to keep doing it through choreography. So it's been nice to extend that through dance.
So now I'm going to go back into the set design and the choreography and working on our stage. Did any of that have to come into play that you needed to see how the stage was going to be set to work on some of the choreography or?
Yeah, so I feel like I was always asking, so what does the set look like again? So I know where to put them on stage. I like to know generally like what platforms we have. I like to
Right.
use as much as the stage as possible, the platforms, the aisles, the audience we're using as well. So
Okay.
I just like to know everything so we can use it to the fullest extent.
Right. Great. So you did set build this past weekend. You said Maya helped out and the process was good.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
You're happy
Very
with,
smooth.
with where we're at,
Mhm.
right? We're doing tech tonight. So you're really going to see how it works.
Yeah.
What about costuming?
Debbie Horner is
Debbie.
our costume designer.
Yep.
Fantastic. by
Isn't
the
she?
way, I should
Isn't she?
say.
I know Marley has worked with her a number of times,
Yeah.
and that's just we have just great resources in this
We truly do.
community theater. Yeah, that's good. And you're happy. So you're in Tanlit. Is it? What 80s, 90s? What's
It's
the?
timeless.
Yeah, time has sort of stopped in a way.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Because it's almost post-apocalyptic. So there is a
Yes.
point where culture as we know it has kind of stopped moving forward.
Okay.
the central idea is
Yeah.
that the world is running out of water.
Yes,
So
there was a drought about 20 years ago. And
Yes.
we're still feeling the
Thank
fallouts
you.
of that.
So things like production of clothes and things aren't
Yes.
necessarily
Happening,
as necessary
yeah.
because we need to figure out how to deal with the water shortage.
That's got to be difficult.
Yeah.
Do you
Yes.
get guidance at all in any of the information that you have, or is it
necessarily. I mean, of course, we have other productions.
other
to go
productions
on,
that
but
you've
there's
watched?
There's not anything in, I think, the script itself that's like,
Okay.
this is what this should look like.
We
This
have
is,
some,
time period.
Really crazy names
Yes,
that
they're
kind of help. We
wild
have Hot
names.
Blades Harry, Soupy Sue, Little Becky
Becky
Two
Two
Shoes. So crazy names that maybe we can come up with something from
Yeah.
that. But it's a lot of stains, a lot of
Yes,
ripping clothes,
a lot of found
and-
things. The
Yeah.
sort of, I don't know, the sort of language we decided on was people sort of pick up what they find whenever they can find it and
Okay.
keep that with them.
With that
Yeah.
and that. Oh, wow.
So each character has a journey. You know what I mean? Of where each piece has come from.
Right.
Yeah, what it means to them. Yeah.
Right. So that had to take a little bit of discussion to really decide how that was going to go. I mean, we're fortunate that we've got some storage here to get some good costumes, and obviously we've got some good experienced costumers that can help us find what we need to. Who else is on the creative team, or anyone else that you guys want to talk about in their roles?
Marley is our producer, which
Marley,
has been
I know Marley.
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually been really, really nice because since it's our debut,
Yes.
for a lot
She
of
is-
questions
yeah.
we can ask Marley.
So
and
much
she's
more
willing to help.
experienced than we are, and she's such a resource. In that
And it's
regard.
her first time producing, but obviously
Yes.
she's been so involved.
You would
in-
not know it.
Yeah.
Well,
watching her.
I mean, maybe her mom's done a few shows. Maybe she's got a little bit of experience with that, but that's great to hear. And Marley is definitely has an attention to detail that I think is important, and then an experience, as well as all of you guys. You've come as actors. You've helped with costumes. You've helped with music. You've helped with choreography. You've co-directed. Now you're directing. You've helped with tech. You've helped with everything. I really think that helps though as you're going in, especially as directors, right? You understand in this theater in particular, right? You've got a smaller stage than normal. How are we going to make this work? So I think it helps to have that experience, and I'm glad Marley has helped you on that side.
Yeah. And then our other designers, we have Bella Navarez as our sound designer.
Wonderful.
And then our light designer is kind of split between Sid Burr, who's
Okay.
in the cast.
Yes.
One of our
Oh,
cast
wonderful.
So they've been doing both, learning the show,
Okay.
blocking and everything, but also going to the booth and
Yes.
and doing
The
lights.
two of you have had very busy days.
Yes. They're actually here right now doing lights.
That's
so
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Your cast, are they any newbies, as it were, or are they all
A
seasoned?
handful.
yeah. So we actually have one of our cast members. It's their very first show ever.
Love it.
So that's
Yes,
great
is a
to work
delight.
with.
Yeah.
And then we have like probably 3 or 4 people
say,
who have never
yeah.
done a show here that came to audition. And
I having had that experience several years ago as performing in the first time, I think it's got to bring a great dynamic in that you have that energy of someone that's new to this and excited, but then someone who's been doing it for a long time who may be a little jaded and may have kind of not feeling the magic when they're around someone who's new and has that. Then they kind of take them under their wings and say, oh, this is what Joey mentioned it earlier, right? You can't be throwing out terminology and stuff all the time without really helping them through it. I remember that my first rehearsals, like I had to grab someone after and like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Yeah. What is that? Stage who? Stage left, stage right? What are you talking about? Blocking? We're going to throw blocks at each other? I don't get this. There is a terminology that comes along in anything in general, any work, any art form, so especially in theater as well. But that's got to be nice to have that mix of energies, as it were, to kind of bring everyone together.
yeah.
I've always said this too, and what I love and I'm excited for you guys to experience is I did a lot of sports growing up, and a production feels like a season, right? And like you have those memories of what happened, and like you will have a connection with these people for the rest of your life. I still see people that I was in Mamma Mia back in 2019 that we're still great friends because of that connection. And whenever you see your, fellow cast members or directors or anything like that, you just gives you this amazing, great feeling inside. Well, you guys, we're coming to our an end of our wonderful discussion here, but I'd love to know a little bit more because I know our audience wants to come and see this production. So let's talk about the dates and let's talk about how they can get tickets.
We open on July 5th.
Okay. And that's a Saturday?
Yes. I
Okay.
think
After
so.
July 4th.
Yes. What do you know?
That seems to be a holiday around here for some reason.
But yeah, we open July 5th.
Yes.
And then we close July 19th.
July 19th.
So we have I think it's 3 weekends of shows.
Okay, and then I see you also have some matinees, July 6th and the 13th at 2:30 p.m. And then tickets, we can call the box office at 909-590-1149. And if you would like to visit the website, chinochildrenstheater.org, and you can get your tickets, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to share with our audience?
I think it's really funny you bring up how shows are like seasons, because I feel like I keep track of time not via years but via shows. I'm like, oh yeah, this thing happened before a spelling bee.
I love that.
Trying to
And-
figure out what
Shitty,
Anderson Gables was.
Yeah.
Well, that was 2019 because I did this show before that and that show after
And
that.
you connect
And then the
like
other thing
life
happened.
moments
Yeah.
with, oh yeah, that's when I did Mamma Mia. That's when I
Literally,
did
yeah.
Yep, Store. That's a very astute point there. Very astute point there, Mr. Joey. You guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, it is such a pleasure. And you guys get out there and come see this amazing production, Urinetown the Musical, opening July 5th and going through July 19th. So get your tickets. Come on down, support the arts, support live theater. And thank you all so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Steps to the Stage, a 7th Street Community Theater podcast. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review and a 5-star rating. It really helps. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Special thanks to Chino Community Theater and Chino Community Children's Theater for their generous support. And very special thank you to the listeners. Steps to the Stage was created by Joey Rice and Kirk Lane. Logo created by Marley Lane. Original music by Joey Rice. Your host, Marley Lane. Engineer and producer, Joey Rice. Engineer and executive producer, Kirk Lane.